Good evening, chat. Hello. Welcome to the show. I met the goal. There's no motivation now. I know. But hold on, Clyde. Hold on, chat. We got our. Oh, well, chat. I tried to Clyde Ringle right now. He is not having it. So, yes, the fat man and the CEO. Yes. Yes, it does. So, anyway, he still gets paid, even though he is refusing to comply. Here you go, Bubba. There you go. Oh, maybe he'll come around. Anyways, chat, welcome to the Thursday night show. If it wasn't Thursday night, we wouldn't be doing it. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, would it? No, it wouldn't. And that's the funny part. But we are live, and it is episode 183. And once again, it has been another week of weeks. It's been a little calmer this week. But we're going to get to it. The aftermath of what happened to Charlie Kirk is still being felt, and it's somewhat impressive what's going on since then. I mean, it really is. It really is. And we are going to be covering a lot of that here. Let's see here. What is it? Clyde just murked his Fed owner. Yeah. No, 2.0 is still fine. 2.0 is still fine. Unchained Clyde. Clyde is unchained. Are we going to hang out and watch Jim this week? Yes. You guys weren't aware Mr. Medicare is coming back this week on Saturday night to cover what's going on. But before we get too far, if you guys are new, my name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I'm an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and tonight we are going to get into... There's some serious stuff here, but there's some things we can laugh at and we can have a good time with. This is a lot less serious of a show than last week. I can promise you that much. There's still some serious things. And tonight we are live. We are live on Rumble. We got Rumble working again, chat. So for like the 4 or 5 of you that like Rumble, there you go. We got Rumble going. Might try to switch to Kick again. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. We are also live on Twitter and here on YouTube. And then last but not least, chat, can't forget about potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Use the promo code summertime 2025 and you can hang out with us. And what do we do there? Well, we do things like hang out and watch Mr. Medicare. It's just a place where you can sit and hang around and talk, and you're not competing with 75 million other people to text or comment or do whatever you want to do. You're able to avoid that and hang out with us there. Now, we do those. That's free for everybody just to come and hang out, because I'm not going to charge you to watch Jim Medicare. That's kind of that's very Talmudic, I think, in my opinion. So I ain't doing that. But there are things you do if you wish to support me. You can support me over there. It's $3 a month. Pay for 10 months. You get 2 months free. And what do you get with that? Well, you get access to the live shows that we do every week. We do a live show every Monday night, and we do a live show every Thursday night. So right after this, we go and hang out. It's a very fun time. But once again, those are only for members that support. So yes, there is a paywall, chat. You're going to have to suffer. But use the promo code summertime 2025, and you can get 1 month free access. I think you will enjoy it. We got F1. We try to watch F1 when it's going. Is there F1 this week? I've been way too busy to see the F1 calendar. I know we missed a race or two in the meantime, and I'm sorry about that, chat. Yes, they are at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So that will be a fun time for us to do. And that will be... Actually, hold on. What time is this going to be at? It is going to be 7 a.m. on ESPN. So Sunday morning, we are going to watch that. And I think you guys are going to enjoy it. If you guys weren't aware, other nights, like this past week, I got picked up 2 new guns. We were playing with those over on Locals. If you're members, you get to take a look at that. So I hope to see you guys there. I hope to see you guys there. All right, chat. Now, before we get started, we do have wait for a couple people to get in here, but I do think we need a little bit of levity. I'm looking very roundy today. I don't know if that's good or bad, but a little bit of, we need to laugh at some stuff. We need to laugh at some things that are going on. And this takes us to somebody who we can laugh at. That person we're laughing at is Destiny, which is a girl's name. Guys, remember Destiny? Stephen Kenneth Bennell, Steve from Omaha, the man with a penchant for leaking nudes of the bipolar hose that he screws. And also, allegedly has tried to entice a minor to cross state lines, and also has allegedly got nude pictures of a minor that he has put around. I mean, just saying, based on the evidence there, really looks like it. Well, Destiny was part of something called the Unfuck America Tour, which was some garbage that all the commies put together. And their idea was to go around and basically kind of like do a Charlie Kirk thing. A Charlie Kirk and Steven Crowder thing of their own, where they're engaging in debate. Well, in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk stuff, and what happened to him, they still went out and, people are like, well, just, and they did perform. They did go out today. I don't know what school they were at, but people are like, oh, Destiny was so brave for doing it. Why? We're not the unhinged fucking lunatics that shoot people. That's a good sign. And you notice Destiny will be doing this without any protection at all around him. And yeah, it's great how they treat him right off the bat. You just love to see it. You'd love to see Destiny suffer. You do. So here we go. This is hilarioso. So, and it says, take us on. I'm sure that's what he tells all the women. But anyways, here's Destiny out there having the time of his life.
Not half as many as you, sir. Not half as many as you, sir.
So, I mean, you're admitting you sucked cock. I mean, like, it's not really a good, considering you actually did suck cock, Destiny. Like, allegedly Nick Fuentes' cock, and maybe even Turkey Tom's. We don't really know. But yes, people are going after him. And, while we could go after him for all of his shitty comments about the violence of Charlie Kirk's death, these are just the evergreen comments. Just like Anna Kasparian went after him and bodied him on Piers Morgan. And if you guys weren't aware, that was something that she did here. And I just accidentally canceled out of it. So let me see if I can bring it back up. But Anna Kasparian, the queen of the Rekieta question, the Rekieta saga, just bodied him on fucking camera. And it was great. It was great. Just beating his ass. And she just let him have it. She just let him have it. And it was some high quality content, chat, let me tell you. So here you go.
All of us should be less violent.
Why do you think
Trump say that?
Why do you
is
think
your behavior contingent on Donald Trump?
Insane right now.
Why do you
is
say-
your
no, let me
behavior
ask a
contingent
question.
on Donald Trump?
Let me
Why
ask
is
a
that?
question.
Because he's the president of the United States of America and the leader of the
Yeah,
opposing
Destiny.
political party.
Destiny. Let me
You
just.
have a huge audience of young men who
I'm a
listen to
YouTuber
everything you have to
who
say.
has more
So
young
when
men
you,
following
it
him.
doesn't matter.
Who
You
has
have a
more young-
huge
it doesn't
audience,
matter.
and because
This
of
is
the fact that
world
you have a
I'm
huge
living in,
audience,
and
you
your
have
brain
a
has been
responsibility
broken by
to not
online
turn.
rhetoric.
No,
And
it
your
hasn't. It
brain has
hasn't been
been
broken. I actually
destroyed
care
because
about the
people
country
bully you on
and want to bring
Twitter.
people together.
If
You
then
do the
you should tell
opposite.
Donald
You
Trump to
represent
tell
the
people
worst
to
of us,
be
Destiny.
less
You're
violent.
embarrassing.
You should tell.
Oh, here we go. He is embarrassing. Here we go. Look at her. Look at her. The Chad versus the Virgin. And Andrew Wilson just sitting there like, oh my God, she's going to murder him. And Poso's like, I'm staying the fuck out of this.
You're
Donald-
embarrassed.
All right, let me ask
Watch how
Destiny
easy
a
this is.
question.
Watch how easy this
No,
is.
hang on.
If
Don't
Donald
all
Trump
shut
would've
at
come out
once,
and say-
please.
If Donald Trump would have come out
Destiny,
and say, "Hey, we should
I-
all be less violent,"
Destiny,
I have no problem saying.
I have one
absolutely.
question for you,
Why
Destiny.
can't conservatives do that?
Just tearing him a new asshole. So Andrew set it up. Yeah. Anna totally watches Kino Casino full time now. She might. She hasn't got on there and said, but Piers, he's gay. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that. I'm so waiting for that part. Yes, Andrew's sitting there with the popcorn. Yep. He just smoking a cigarette like, oh, this is good. This is good. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. But yeah, Self of Destiny. And yeah, she went after him. And this was not the part. God, where was the one I found where she just lays into him for his I think this is it.
Why
Why do you
is
think?
your
No, let me
behavior
ask a
contingent
question.
on Donald Trump?
No, that's not it. There's one where she just goes after him for like all the pictures and everything, and she just lays into him, and it was primo. It was primo, leaking women's nudes, and she just went after it. Yeah. Pierce jerks it off to the stuff. Yeah, Piers Morgan is a showman, and he is making a show. And yes, it's about the news, but it's about getting asses in the seats and getting clicks. So you can't fault the man for putting the stuff out there. He's giving the people what they want. Giving the people what they want. I mean, that's how you got to look at it. That's how you got to look at it, man. Cannon Hotep, friend of the show, fellow YouTuber. Cannon Hotep, how you doing, brother? Hope you're doing well out there, man. Hope it goes well. We need to get together again soon, man. It's been a while. But he says Destiny better be on his P's and Q's too. Yeah, remember, as I've been saying, his biggest fear right now should be catching the ire of Pam Bondi and the DOJ when there's like some loser douchebag mainstream, like big time leftist streamer they can go after for, cheese pizza possibly, or getting a hold of his hard drive and taking a look at it. There's a lot they can do there. So yeah, Destiny better mind himself. He better mind himself. Yeah, Pierce sees the dollar signs. He does 100%. But anyways, good to see you, Cannon. And guys, if you do, check out Cannon Hotep here on YouTube. Good content out there. Very good guy to watch. Yes, it's all about the asses in the seats. I agree. Give the people what they want. Did I go over the Luigi stuff already? No, we're gonna go over that in a minute. Here. So that's one of our bigger stories tonight. So we're gonna get to that in a little bit here. Yes, it was a strict liability felting. Oh no. Oh. Do I have in my notes that Erica? Yes, I do. We're gonna talk about Erica Kirk. I mean, like, that wasn't a surprise to anybody. I don't think. But so as we get started here tonight, chat, it is time to go. It's time to go after we got that little bit of funniness going. Yes, I did. This was the other funny part. Destiny got demonetized. Suffer, Destiny. Suffer. I mean, woo. I know, I saw that earlier. That was I was talking with a couple people in a DM about that, and I was like, whoa, buddy. Yeah, he's demonetized right now on YouTube, which is like, So we'll see how he makes his money. I don't know. How's he going to pay Brettler $100,000 a month? I can't imagine he's actually paying Brettler $100,000 a month. How much fucking work is this guy actually doing? And if, Jesus Christ, man, he needs to figure out something new. But yes, he's demonetized. He's broke. He's not on Twitch. He's been off Twitch for years now. He left Twitch when Keffels, the whole Keffels shit went down, because he gave like a base take about Keffels. Like, Destiny made a comment that was not very Troon friendly, and he got taken off Twitch, and that was many moons ago, man. That was many, many moons ago, as the great buffalo chased across the sky. He still has Twitch. He does now. I thought he never did. I didn't think he got it back. I thought he was done. Yeah, Destiny isn't allowed on Twitch. Like, yeah, he's not allowed to, and that's the rule. Like, that's part of Twitch's rules. Like, Destiny is so not welcome on Twitch. Like, if I had a Twitch channel and he came on, I would get banned. It's that bad. So, I remember as one of the few leftists who would go on to Killstream, world famous Killstream, the illustrious Killstream. Yes. Yes, I do remember back in the day. Yes. Gator, get Gator. Yes, bring Gator back. It's a Don. Yes, I remember those days. Remember those days of Matt Jarbo? I remember the days. It was, yeah. Nico says you can't talk about shit in Keffels because well, yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful about that. Gator! So, Kimbo, am I going to... YouTube keeps nuking your streams? Well, I mean, you got to be careful when it comes to the gun stuff, and I think... I don't know what if you're doing there, but I'll help you figure it out, man. I didn't know that was happening to you. But hanging out on Kick? Okay. Well, guys, look for Cannon Hotep on Kick. Look for Cannon over on Kick. And I need to take the banner down. Jeez. I'm not going to shill all the time. It's not DSP. It's not DSP here. But let's get to the first thing, guys. Let's get to the first thing here. And it's Luigi Mangione. Now, I know if you guys don't remember, Luigi, if you guys remember, let's hear it for the boy. If you like watching people get assassinated, I mean, here he is, and he's putting in work on the CEO of United Healthcare, and the little... And you remember, he escaped New York City, got all the way to Pennsylvania before he was apprehended. And now here he is. Ladies, my seat bottoms are going to get moist here now, I can tell you. And here they go. This is him now. This is him now. So he's got multiple cases pending. He's got criminal cases. How did they find him? Well, they were able to track him. They were able to track everything about him because he left a pretty big electronic trail. And eventually they hunted him. They found him down in Pennsylvania because somebody called him in at a McDonald's and they found him. So he has cases in Pennsylvania. He has cases in New York, but he's also got a federal case. And the federal case is for the murder of Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare. Well, people were like, oh, he got stuff suppressed. And yeah, he did. In the state of New York. Not in the federal case. Not in the federal case, but this does bode well that there may be some things they can do here. So this came out this week, and this is from the Supreme Court of the state of New York. And remember, that's the trial court level in New York County, meaning Manhattan Island. Remember, each one of the boroughs is its own county. You have like New York County, you have Kings County, which is where Brooklyn is, Queens. You have all those, each one is its own county. So from here, the judge is just kind of reciting what happened. And remember, there were the 3 shell casings they found with the depose, delay, deny. And they were able to trace the shooter's movements to a hostel in Upper Manhattan. He had used the name of Mark Rosario, and he took a train to Philadelphia following the murder. And this all happened back in December of 2024. On December 9th, he got arrested at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. And then from there, they found all kinds of stuff on them. And they said, the ballistics demonstrated the shell casings were fired by the gun found on his backpack. DNA analysis established the DNA's defendant was on the water bottle that he left. I mean, this guy was really sloppy. Really, really, really sloppy. So what happened to Luigi? His fingerprints were found on a water bottle and on a power bar wrapper found near the scene. So what did they charge him with? Well, he was charged with murder in the first degree because it was an furtherance in an act of terrorism. He also got charged murder in the second degree as a crime of terrorism, murder in the second degree, intentional, and 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree. And remember, it's New York, so he had illegal guns. Criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree and criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree additionally. And they charge him under multiple sections here. Also criminal possession of a weapon in the 4th degree. And then they went after him all kinds of things here. But ultimately, they moved to dismiss the terrorism charges as insufficient, and they moved to dismiss the entire indictment for violations of double jeopardy, and argues the case should be stayed pending the resolution of his federal case. And they say they have additionally, so the court has made things here. So he's going to have suppression hearings. So he's probably going to get some evidence suppressed, sounds like. Sounds like the feds and the police did some sketchy things. But he had a motion to inspect grand jury minutes for legal sufficiency. And this is just like, we talked about this before, guys. Getting access to the grand jury stuff is tough. We saw in the Karen Reed trial, they went after the grand jury things. And it was hard to get a hold of these things. But getting the grand jury's minutes, remember, they're supposed to be deliberating in, they deliberate in secret. And what they're presented is generally not accessible. The public never gets to go. And remember, in the grand jury, it is a one-sided affair. You have the prosecutor, and that's it. You're not there. So we move on here, and they talk about, there's legally sufficient evidence, means a prima facie case, meaning you don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And ultimately, they argue there's legally insufficient evidence of first-degree murder, of terrorism, and second-degree murder as a crime of terrorism. And he argues that the legislative intent and case law demonstrate they don't fit. And the people, meaning the state of New York, because remember, it's the people of the state of New York, they argue both counts are legally sufficient and the intent was established because he was not engaged in a personal vendetta, but violently broadcasted a political message that inspired threats to the UHC employees. And they say New York's terrorism statute set forth was enacted on September 17th, 2001. 6 days, for those of you in Rio Linda, after 9/11. That is lightning fast for any legislation. And what does that generally tell you when something gets passed that fast? It's gonna be garbage. It should never be passed that fast. That's always a bad thing. They were able to do it, though, because they liberally borrowed from already existing federal legislation, which isn't something to be proud of. So the examples of terrorism cited in the legislative findings are like September 11th, the bombings of the embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, attributed to Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, the destruction of the Oklahoma City Federal Building in 1995 by the FBI. What? Huh? What? Who said that? Who said that? The mid-air bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 in Lockerbie, Scotland, from the Libyans, and the 1997 shooting from the Empire State Building, which you guys have probably never heard of, the 1994 murder of a guy in the Brooklyn Bridge, and the bombing of the World Trade Center in 1993. So you get first-degree murder with intent to cause the death of another. He causes the death of such person, and the victim was killed in a furtherance of an act of terrorism. So, what are you doing when you engage in first-degree murder? You're involved in a violent act or acts dangerous to human life, and that are intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policy of a unit of government by intimidation or coercion, or affect the conduct of a unit of government by murder, assassination, and kidnapping. And similarly, once again, for second-degree murder is an act of terrorism, where you're doing this, once again, for the same stuff. And the government saying, hey, look, we've established all three intents. Although they focus on intimidating or coercing a civilian population. And they point out that they also argue that he was affecting policy of a government by intimidation or coercion. And the court saying there is insufficient evidence presented to support this claim. There was no evidence he made any demands of government or sought any particular policy change. And that's true. He wasn't lobbying the government to change something. He was killing a man to make a point. So they point out, as the federal authorities noted, the defendant's goal appeared to be draw the public's attention to what he perceived to be problems with the healthcare industry. And the people place great emphasis on the snatched phrase revolutionary anarchism in his writings to suggest this satisfies the element to influence policies of government. And he says not only does this stretch the import of a two-word phrase, it ignores the other more explicit excerpts from his writings, which state his goal is to spread a message and to win public support. And everything wrong with our health system. And there's a lot wrong. Therefore, they fail to establish intent to influence or affect government. And then, so because of that, they're going to focus on the intimidation of the civilian population, which, you know, just without having to read the statute, I'm like, how does this intimidate the civilian population? Unless you're the CEO of a healthcare company, you're safe. Like everybody else walking down the street doesn't have to fear this man because he's not intending to kill them. And Red Hook over on Rumble says, nobody in here? Well, hello. And BCM is in the ICU. I see you. ACU. And they've been warned by the Court of Appeals. Court of Appeals is the Supreme Court of New York. Their high court. And they caution expanding the definition of terrorism beyond what the legislator intended. Terrorism has a unique meaning. And it risks being trivialized if it's applied loosely in situations that don't match our understanding. It's like calling people a racist or a Nazi or a fascist. It loses meaning. And they say the legislature incorporated a general definition and referenced 7 notorious acts that serve as guideposts. And they talk about, once again, these notorious acts: September 11th, the embassy bombings, the Oklahoma City bombing, you know, the bombing of an airliner. And they point out that these show the egregious nature of the conduct. And so he's a street gang member operating in a particular area of the Bronx. And they say in a case here, one of the cases cited, the defendant fired 5 shots at one of his rivals who was paralyzed, that also killed a 10-year-old. And it says the prosecutors argued there was sufficient evidence of terrorism because the defendant intended to intimidate or coerce other Mexican-American gangs, and by inference, all Mexican-Americans in the area. Well, the Court of Appeal, the Intermediate Appellate Court, dismissed, finding there was no intent to intimidate the population, and saying the other gang members did not qualify as a civilian population here, which, you know, the executives of the healthcare companies don't count. They say they're not minimizing the nature of the criminal case or the stark tragedy of it, but the conduct is not terrorism. So he had to get a new trial on the remaining counts. And the court noted the statute did not define the phrase to, it didn't define the phrase of intending to intimidate or coerce, but it stated it should be given its most natural and obvious meaning. And civilian population could be read broadly to encompass anybody, like who lives in the territory. And the court found it unnecessary to define the term, but it concluded even if all Mexican Americans in an area could be considered a population, there's this act was, you know, he didn't commit this discrete act of shooting at the gangbangers to intimidate everybody. Only the gang members. Only the gang members. And there was no indication street violence was intended to become terrorism. So they come back to this case with Luigi. And they say here, no matter how heinous, does it fit within the definition of terrorism? And it says the court doesn't believe it intended the employees of a company, however large, to constitute a civilian population. They say it's clear the term encompasses inhabitants of an area or a group of inhabitants or a race of people. It just doesn't count, you know, a pervasive intimidation of a community rather than a narrowly defined group of people. And you can't do it to a subcategory of individuals. And they say there was no evidence he intended to consciously coerce the employees of United Healthcare. The government's like, but he's got these journal entries. And they're like, yeah, but that doesn't help. His apparent objective was not to threaten or intimidate or coerce, but draw attention to what he perceived as the greed of the industry, and as an additional consequence to affect the financials of the company. He wanted to spread a message and win public support like everything wrong. He explicitly contrasted himself with Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. Praise be to Uncle Ted, by the way, because he indiscriminately mail-bombed innocents and crossed the line to terrorists, the worst thing a person can be. And they say, while his own characterization of his conduct is not dispositive, the writings fail to supply the evidence contrary to the government's characterizations. There is evidence he murdered Brian Thompson in a premeditated and calculated execution. That doesn't mean he did so with terroristic intent. And it says the feds, while acknowledging he was gunned down, did not charge Luigi with terror, but using a firearm to commit murder and related crimes, even though the federal terrorism statute served as a model for the state statute. And it says, regarding his intent, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District stated his goal was a misguided attempt to broadcast his views across the country. And they said he did this to incite national debates. Well, so he's just like Destiny. He just wants to talk. And then he deemed murder an appropriate recourse to satiate personal grievances. So they suggest the elements of intimidation and coercion can be met because some employees felt fearful. And some employees received threats. They say, but put aside that some employees received threats even before the murder. And every murder has a potential to induce some degree of fear, which is fair. Every murder is scary to people. Random murder in the subway will cause people to be fearful. But that's not terrorism. And they say, using the guideposts of the terrorism we actually have cited, there's no evidence of a desire to terrorize the public, to engage in a broad campaign of violence, or to conspire, or to inspire widespread fear. It was a targeted killing of one person. And the characteristics of terrorism include indiscriminate killing, which produce fear and terror. Talk about the bombings or indiscriminate shootings. Those strike terror in a population. And terrorism disrupts public order and threatens individual safety. If you weren't a healthcare executive, you're fine. Oh, here, I see this comment. I need to grab this. Well, I agree. It's not based on if that's a state's definition of terrorism, then yeah, that shouldn't include that. I think that's fair. Say the court doesn't need to reach the issue if the statute encompasses an act only involving a single victim, but the court will note the reliance on the example set forth in the statute, the Empire State shooting and the Ari Halberstrom killing on the Brooklyn Bridge, as incidents that encompassed only one victim, is different, though. Those incidents were very different. And they talk about 1997, the gunman who expressed his desire of revenge for the treatment of Palestinians. We've heard that one before. Opened fire with a semi-auto weapon on the observation deck, killing 1 and wounding 6. Ari Halberstrom, the gunman was motivated by a desire to retaliate against the Jews and fired shot after shot into a van of Orthodox students. And the defendant, meaning Luigi's targeted killing of one individual, although abhorrent, is not comparable. Because yes, these guys up here, this is all indiscriminate violence. Shooting randomly into a van, that's pretty indiscriminate. And yes, while this is not ordinary street crime, it does not follow that on-street crime is automatically terrorism. And this is just simple applying the language to, taking the statutory language and applying it. And there is without establishing the elements of intents to coerce. There's nothing. And it says, while he was expressing an animus towards the UHC, it does not follow his goal to intimidate the civilian population. So what does this ultimately mean for Luigi? So because of that, he definitely didn't do this. So the first 2 counts of the indictment are dismissed. He's still facing a lot of stuff. He's still facing, the murder in the second degree are legally sufficient. So he's not done. He didn't win here, guys. This is not a win for him. Like they got rid of the most dangerous thing, but it's still pretty tough. The defendant he argued a double jeopardy claim as well. Now here's the problem, and we talked before with the dual sovereigns. So he's arguing that the concurrent state and federal prosecutions violate double jeopardy. And it says, however, the Supreme Court has held where there are 2 sovereigns, meaning New York and the federal government, there are 2 laws and 2 offenses. And this is Gamble versus the United States, just restating that claim and restating that rule, which allows the government, the federal government, and the state government to try you for the same crime. And the crime against 2 sovereigns constitutes 2 offenses because each has an interest to vindicate. Thus, there's no double jeopardy claim. So that's gone. And whoever wrote this knew that was going to happen, but you make the argument anyway. So they say, nonetheless, he's prejudiced by concurrent proceedings. And it says, because he will be forced to litigate a federal case where he faces the death penalty, well, the state case is proceeding to trial, and testifying in the state case may prejudice him during federal trial, thus implicating his rights against self-incrimination. And he suggests the federal case should proceed first, even though the federal and state authorities have agreed the state case should proceed first. So what is the court saying? He's like, yeah, we're not persuaded that this is going to cause you prejudice. And his claim that the state trial testimony will hurt him is only speculative. I mean, really, anything he says they are going to use against him. So, I mean, he's not stupid. I do love when courts say this. Well, we don't know what's going to happen. It's like, but we know. But we know. No, they point out there is no law or case, the case law or authority that would permit such a protracted adjournment or continuance. And the court is confident counsel had the ability to manage a 2-month trial, the state trial, during the pendency of the several years before the feds try him. Having a 2-month trial is ridiculous. So the summary is counts 1 and 2 are dismissed. Everything else, including murder in the second degree, survives. So while Luigi got a dub, he it's like it's not as big a deal as everybody thinks. I mean, it's helpful. It is helpful, but it's not what you want it to be. It's not what you want it to be right now. Like that's the problem here. That's it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. So it is what it is, guys. It is what it is there. So we'll find out what happened there. We will find out. But for right now, it is what it is, guys. I know people were like, oh, this is going to be great. It's like, but it's not. It's not exactly great there. It's not exactly great. Let's see here. Gaku fan says this case is holy cringe. Yeah. Nero says talk about cherry picking to save your side from having another terrorist in their column. No, I mean it's we could consider it an act of terrorism, and I'm sure any people who are doing methodology to count like which side's committing terrorism will count this as terrorism. But under New York law, it doesn't count as terrorism. I mean, it still is. We would all think it's terrorism. Just under the law, actually, it's not. Nero said, or Eric Kush says this dude's lawyer is slimy. Fuck this guy. It's like, man, that's the lawyer you're gonna want when your ass is on the line. So it's all in the game. It's all in the game. If his attorneys can get rid of stuff, you should be mad at the prosecutors for not being able to get the job done. Remember, don't get mad at the linebacker that he sacked the quarterback. You should get mad at the lineman for not protecting their quarterback. CAS for $5 says, what do you think of the people that are condoning these assassinations? Is it just a loud minority, or is this a sign of a bigger problem? On the left, they love this. I mean, it's entirely a thing. Sam Hyde's right. These people want you dead. And they want your children raped, and they would laugh about it the whole way. It's like, no, this is a serious thing. There are a lot of people out there who think they want the smoke and they don't understand what they're dealing with. So it's not pleasant out there. It's not pleasant out there. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, real quick, chat. As much as I hate that phrase, it is what it is. We got some stuff. We got to catch up on the Destiny things real quick because some stuff rolled in there. Nico for $5 is awesome. Now I have a sense of accomplishment. Truly another win for the toe. Yes, guys, we met the goal. We met the goal, chat. God bless the goal. If we met the goal, one super chat, you would have a sense of achievement. So I hope you do. I hope you feel achievement, chat. If you had a bunch of L's today, you got a big dub. We got achievement. Yay. Hold on one second, chat. Uh, 2.0 says we're being loud. I gotta close the door. Hold on one second, chat. Guys, she said you're too freaking loud. Why are you guys so goddamn loud? Gonna fucking wake up 2.0. So Anonymous for $2, thank you, says, wait, I'm not late for once? Nice. Well, there you go. T-Rex and Crypto Travels for $4.99 says, Clown World equals when shoe on head, a literal socialist, is the rational one on the left telling her side they've gone absolutely insane. Yeah, I mean, it says a lot, but, if the shoe is right, the shoe on head's right, shoe has a jar. It's like, June was right. That jar is pretty full already. Brimstone says, I love you, Sean, in a totally unacceptable homosexual way. Well, I guess, thank you. Missouri Battle Flag says, Netanyahu promised he didn't do it, meaning Charlie Kirk. He's not guilty, even though he probably did do it. Oh, no. Natasha gifting 10 subs, chat. And really, that gets us. Thank you for the support, Natasha. Thank you for support your generosity. Get a big old Clyde for that. Get a big old woo. Get a big old woo. Hot Fart Fernando says, beg for your penny, Sean. We're not on Kick tonight, and I can't get the kicks thing, so don't worry. James Finch for 1,000. I think that's yuan, right? Is that yuan? I think so. Or is that yen? That's yen. Okay. It's yen. 1,000 yen. Says, I am Charlie and we are the media now. No more lies and no Antifa. Trump decides who is Antifa. Well, remember, he says he's doing that. That doesn't mean anything. Like, he can't officially designate an organization. Like, he can't. It's not like Marco Rubio declaring that the drug cartels are terrorist organizations. It's because they operate their foreign organizations. Doing that here in America doesn't work that way. So, yeah. So Stacy says, is that like 14 cents? Maybe. But thank you, James. And then Fenris Wolf for $10. Thank you. Says Sean is a fat man, but he's my fat man. No gazy. Or no gaze. No gazy. Thank you. CAS is saying that David thing is wild. Yes. Another like a singer found dead in the trunk of his car. Yeah, we're gonna get into that because there's a bunch of shit in that one we're gonna have to dig into. T-Rex in Crypto says for $4.99. Here's a bit more levity. Today on Piers Morgan, Don Lemon is quoted as saying, I'm not on the left. And I'm a fact-based person. Okay, yes. Well, I don't believe you. And Just Me says, so YouTube has paused Destiny's monetization. He thinks he's about to be banned from the platform. Lamau. Well, suffer, Steven. Suffer. You know, maybe you guys will understand now if enough of you are scared. You get that? Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Oh no. Oh, womp, 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 Steven. Oh. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? It's weird. Weird. And then over on Rumble, TX47, thank you. For $5 says, let me see here. So if you're Trump and you ask, show me if Netanyahu's responsible for the murder of U.S. citizen Charlie Kirk, and hard evidence comes back yes, then what? We glass Tel Aviv. I don't know what we would do. We'd do something, but yes, maybe we do glass Tel Aviv. I don't know. I don't know. Like what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? So, what do we do? Show enough says common language isn't the same as legal language. Yes. Show enough. Isn't that the Shogun of Harlem? It's like, who am I? Shogun. Yes, what Destiny did is despicable, but RT was worse. No, Review Tech was just a shitbag, but Destiny's stuff was really bad. So they sacked him with Destiny's mouth. Oh, I'm sure Destiny's like, what do you mean there's a sack? I'm doing the cope phrase. Which cope phrase? Which one's the cope phrase? Welcome to the cope stream. Oh no, you guys are awful. You guys are awful here. But yes, moving on, guys. Moving on, we are getting into the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination. Remember, it's been over a week now since Charlie Kirk was gunned down by a Troon supporter and leftist psychopath, Tyler Robinson, merely because he spoke the truth and because he couldn't afford to have the man spread his word. He couldn't. That's why they had to silence him. So, anyways, guys, if you weren't here earlier this week, Tyler Robinson, this is him here. If you guys haven't seen him before, this is him wearing a suicide smock at the jail. And he was arraigned. He was arraigned this past week and got read out his charges. If you guys haven't seen these charges, we do cover them early in the week. We're not going to go through all of this line by line by line, but some of the basics on it, if you have not seen it, are some of the basics for this case. You have here's Tyler in all of his suicide smock glory. But we do go through his case real quick here. So what happened to him? He's got a couple of counts that he's facing right now. One of them's aggravated murder. That totally makes sense. He, intended to do this, so he got charged with aggravated murder. There's also a thing, meaning he could face a death penalty. Utah is looking to go for the death penalty right now, based for him. There's also a targeting enhancement, meaning he targeted Charlie Kirk. It was done in the presence of a child. Charlie's kid, his oldest kid, was there. In fact, from what we understand, as he was, as people were panicking and screaming and gunfire broke out, Charlie's daughter tried to run to Charlie because that's her dad and her dad would protect her. And they couldn't let her do it. They refused. They blocked her, and she was apparently saying, "Where is my dad? Where is my dad?" And then we got to hear Erica Kirk when she talked about, her kid is asking, "Where is her dad?" And it's like, she's like, "What do you say?" And it's like, "I don't know what you say." But anyways, he also got charged with felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, another targeting, another in defense of children, obstructing justice, because he removed the firearm and, concealing it. Makes sense. He got another obstruction of justice for what? Well, he concealed and changed the clothing he wore. Okay, that makes sense. He got charged with tampering a witness because of his roommate. His roommate that he was having sex with, meaning boyfriend. What did he do? He told his roommate to delete incriminating text messages. This one here, I think, is a bit problematic, count 6. And it's because he told his roommate to shut up if the police question him and get an attorney. I don't think this one's kind of iffy in my opinion. I don't think that's legal or fair. I don't think it's legal or fair. That he committed violence in the presence of a child. And we get through all of this here. They do the basic information that's out there, and we've already gone through all of that. And we've gone through about what happened, but very quickly, the school actually had decent enough surveillance that they began looking around to see what's going on. And as soon as the gunshot happened, an officer started scanning the rooftops, and he looked for the roof area, and he immediately ran to it and looked for evidence. So the cops were pretty much on this guy's heels. They were pretty much there. Like, as soon as it happened, they were running up to where they thought he was, and it turns out they were right. So eventually they led to the surveillance recordings. That's where they found the guy with the black shirt with the American flag, the dark ball cap, and sunglasses. And they noticed he was walking with a very unusual gait. His right leg was stiff. And that's because he shoved the rifle down his pants. It's a great way to hide it. And, later they capture him, as we showed this before. He runs across the roof, and he drops off the roof. And he appears to drop the rifle as he hits the ground. And then he runs towards the end of campus and into the woods and disappears. So in that wooded area, they found the bolt. They found the rifle, bolt action rifle. And that's where they found the shell casings, because no shell casings were found on the roof. And this is where they, have the different things there. Where it's like the notices bulge. Ew, woo, what's this? Then there's the hey fascist catch, and then the code, the weapons code for Helldivers 2 when you calling in your strike at the console. And then we got to this one, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao Ciao. And this is a song sung by Antifa and various anti-fascist groups, because that's what the Italians sang when they were in the La Resistance, as they killed Nazis. And then this one right here was written, if you read this, you are gay. LMAO. And yes, the governor does a great job of recreating that. He reenacts it for us.
You are gay. LMAO.
Very true. Very true. And look, it's written on a document. It's official. You're gay, chat. Apparently, though, Tyler was not smart enough to write only gay cops will catch me, or only gay cops will read this, because that would have been the smart move, doing it that way, because, the cops are going to be like, shit, what do we do? What do we do? If he says we're gay, I don't want to be gay. I don't want to arrest him, because then I'm going to be gay. Oh. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work, chat, would it? No, it wouldn't work at all. Wouldn't work at all. So from here, they talk about the ammunition were sent off. The DNA was consistent with Robinson's, was found on the trigger. They found it all over on other parts of the gun, the casings, and the, guys, wipe down your casings. People leave fingerprints on that shit all the time. 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 Don't do that. Wipe your shit down. And so they say on the evening of September 11th, his parents, and asked him to turn himself in. And the day after the shooting, his mom saw the picture and thought it looked like him. And he said he had been homesick all day. And then his mom went to his dad and said that, I think he's the shooter. Robinson's mom explained that over the past year, he'd become more political and began to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. Like, becoming more pro-gay. It sounds like he was already partially pro-gay. So it's like, how can you do more? How can you do more? No, it's not clear that he ejected the casing. I think the casing was in the gun still. Anyways, guys, these are just some of the things here, that he began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning. You're like, wow. And he said Charlie Kirk would be holding an event, and he said it was a stupid venue. Stupid venue. And Charlie Kirk is full of hate. So that at that point, they realized, oh, it looks like the gun that they gave their son that was given to him. And his dad said, hey, send me a photo of the gun. The kid's like, I can't. And he implied that he planned to kill himself. And they're like, okay, well, that's when they realized he implied he was the shooter. And then they got a family friend who was a cop, and said that it would be best if he turned himself in with all the evidence. And this is like the best cop ever. He convinced the guy to show up with all the evidence and turn himself in. It's like, so anyways, they interviewed the roommate, a biological male, which oof. That was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. And he said the roommate received messages and he provided them to the cops. And he, I know people are saying this isn't real, but these guys are fucking weirdos. It's probably real. And he said, he texted him and says, look under my keyboard. And he pulled out a note that stated, I had the opportunity to kill Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. And then like this goes on and on and on and on and on. And it's really gay and it's really long. So, they also discovered multiple etchings on the casings that were like found there, that were very similar. And they ultimately think he committed these crimes here. So that's kind of the rundown of it. We went through it a lot more there. Don't skip the gay stuff. We're skipping the gay stuff, okay? We're skipping the gay stuff tonight. So we're not doing that. We're not going to look at that. But anyways, he is facing his charges. He is getting an attorney. But that's really kind of the limit of what's going on with the guy right now. But I thought it was important we address that because it is kind of a big deal. It is kind of a big deal. And that is the new thing. That is the new hot thing there. Sita Lothar is saying where the charges against Luigi dropped, only 2 of the state charges, like the cases are still going strong, but just the charges he used terrorism are not surviving. So there you go. Not a big deal, ultimately. Not a big deal. Now, moving on from there, guys, this is an interesting one, and this is something where we talked about the guy down in Atlanta. He spent 10 years waiting trial. I saw this one, and I forget where I came from, and whoever sent it to me, or if I found it myself, well, thank you, Sean. But if you sent it to me, I am sorry, I don't remember. This is just absolutely ridiculous what has gone on to this guy in Wisconsin. So this is a guy who is a drug dealer. His name is James Granberry. And, look at him. He's got a big old smirk on his face. And here's the idea. He got arrested for felony drug possession, for being in a drug trafficking ring. And they tried to give him a preliminary hearing, meaning he had the chance to contest his charges. He hasn't had his preliminary hearing for 14 months. 14 months, chat. Hold on here. So 14 months, though. 14 months without having your preliminary hearing because they couldn't find a lawyer for him. Was he out on bail? No, he's not been out on bail. Did the prosecutors explain the delay? It's not the prosecutor's problem. It's actually an issue of he faces 36 charges, or he faces 14 charges, including manufacturing and delivery of fentanyl, amphetamines, and cocaine. 7 people were arrested. And he was arrested in July and charged 2 weeks later, which is pretty normal. This is the first wiretap investigation they've had for fentanyl trafficking. And it's like 47 people are being charged in total. So, and they point out that the preliminary hearing is the first step where they have to show there's enough for the case to go forward. and he's been held on $1 million cash bond. And it's supposed to take place within 10 days. But the state, meaning they haven't been able to find him an attorney. Because remember, if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. And the public defender's office couldn't take it. And they said it made more than 5,000 contacts, calling the same attorneys multiple times. But they couldn't find an attorney. They couldn't find an attorney. They finally did get one, though. So this guy has been in front of the judge, though, and he asked for his case to be dismissed. And yeah, he's like, I've been in front of this multiple times. My rights have been violated. He's gone in court himself and argued about this. But fucking 400 days. 400 some days. No attorney. You know, and they talk about the Wisconsin Supreme Court saying that another guy's rights were violated because he sat in jail 113 days without a preliminary hearing. They say those charges were able to be refiled. I don't know if these can. I don't think they should. 14 months sitting before you've even told you had a crime. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
We have been failing the people of Brown County and statewide by not having this issue addressed.
A prime example of what some are calling a crisis in Brown County's court system is James Granberry. He's accused of being a top-tier drug dealer, caught in the state's first-ever wiretap investigation for fentanyl.
This is one of the most significant drug cases that we've had.
Granberry has 14 charges against him, including 13 felonies, and is being held on a $1 million cash bail.
Despite the hundreds of years in prison he's facing, the State Court of Appeals is looking at whether it should throw out Granberry's case. Granberry argues his constitutional rights have been violated because he hasn't had a preliminary hearing yet due to the state's inability to provide him with an attorney.
And I agree they've been violated. The fact they can't find an attorney is not his problem. Is not his problem at this point. So, did they ask him if he agreed to waive time? It does not sound like any of that has happened. Does not sound like any of that's been an issue. If it was, the state would have made the problem there. And yes, I agree. If the courts can't provide more than an attorney, they need to dismiss the charges. It's bullshit. I agree. They should be dismissed already. 400 some days without an attorney. So, if they need to appoint him one, he should wait. Why? It's not his fault he's being charged. They charged him. If the state can't defend people, they can't. If the state can't appoint someone to defend you, they shouldn't be allowed to prosecute you. Can they try him again? Who knows? Granola says, how can you not find an attorney? Are they allergic to the state's money there? Well, there's like 40 some people involved, so a lot of people are going to be conflicted out. They may not pay well. Remember, we talked about in Massachusetts, the attorneys are basically refusing to accept court appointments because of how little they get paid. So who knows what the issue is? There might not be enough attorneys in the area. I don't know. I mean, there are places in Ohio, for example, many rural areas where the Supreme Court is so desperate to make sure there's attorneys out there. They're giving, people in law school, we'll pay for you to be like an intern for a summer to work in the court down there and make contacts and, befriend the judges and learn and, hang out with the other attorneys. We'll pay for you to do that for a summer with the idea you go down there, you go to that rural county as soon as you graduate and pass the bar and start practicing because there aren't new attorneys filling in the gaps. So, but yeah, this is absolutely garbage for him. He probably did it. Oh, well, that's not his fault. This is the state's fault for not being able to take care of it. Got to let him go. It's like that guy spent 10 years waiting for his murder trial. I don't care if he did it at that point. He should be let go. Something has to happen. So, Don't they have a default PD for arraignment purposes? Doesn't sound like it. If that was that easy, I think they would have done it. If they would have been able to do it, it sounds like they would have. But something happened. Something happened. I don't know what it is. And then TX47 over on Rumble says for $5. Thank you, by the way. What's the problem with finding him an attorney? Where's the money that he supposedly earned from drug dealing? If it's been confiscated, then there's the money to pay a lawyer. Put it in escrow. Okay, and then let's say he gets acquitted, or the state has to dismiss charges. He spent all that money. Does he? The government has confiscated money and spent it. Does the government now pay him back? What happens to that money the government forcibly took? Why doesn't the government just pay for his attorney right off the bat? So, is this in Fulton? No, this is up in Wisconsin, up in Green Bay. Let me see here. Where you guys? Yes, he's black. I don't care that he's black. So who knows? Who knows what happens there? It's just horseshit. Think about 14 months. That is such horseshit. Such horseshit. Such horseshit. Okay, guys. Well, we are going to keep moving on here. We are going to keep moving on. Other things out there, as far as this guy's suffering in a jail for 14 months, but somebody else is getting to suffer. And that is a guy named Mahmoud Khalil. And Mahmoud Khalil is one of the people that was arrested recently, spent like most of the summer in jail, being held for violations of immigration law, and because he was leading the protest against Israel, the pro-Palestinian protest at his school in New York City. And he got released recently, but the government is still deporting him. And I'm trying to find this picture of him because there's a picture of him where he looks like a little whiner. But this is Mahmoud Khalil right in the middle. Obviously, that's him there being a good old nice boy who didn't do nothing wrong. That's him right there in the middle, helping all the pro-Palestinian supporters fuck around at the University of Columbia campus. And he is still getting deported, and it is hilarioso. So Mahmoud Khalil is getting, and he's a Algerian-Palestinian person. One of his parents is Algerian, one of them is Palestinian. So he's going to get deported to Algeria or Syria. Yes, chat. Syria, where there are guys, Al-Jalani, the former head of Al-Qaeda in Syria, is now the president. Yes, he might get sent there. Or Algeria, military dictatorship. Although that means he could probably get to France pretty quick. So we covered this earlier this week, chat, but we're just going to go through it real quick. I think we covered it last night. Immigration judge ordered him to get to Syria because he didn't have his green card. And he lied. He lied about it. And ultimately, what did he lie about? Well, he lied about his membership in 2 different organizations. And he didn't disclose it. And you can't lie about this shit when you're doing things. And what did he ultimately lie about? Well, he lied about 2 different organizations. And what he did was he failed to disclose his involvement in participating with the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, and the Columbia University Apartheid and Divest group. He didn't include these on his documents. He lied on his immigration paperwork. So guess what? You get a fuera. He's going to get a fuera. Back to Algeria or Syria. All the stutters and stops are me and the CIA listening. Yeah. But there we go, chat. At the end of the day, he wanted to be he wanted to be La Resistance. We're going to protest Israel. And you drew the ire of the government. And guess what they did? They started looking through all his shit. And they found that he lied about something. And that's how they get you. That's why you got to be careful about making yourself a target. If you make yourself a target, somebody will go looking. And when they go looking, people usually find stuff. And in this guy's case, they found enough to get him deported. So it's like, bravo. I hope it was fucking worth it. I hope it was fucking worth it. Yes. Afuera, senor. Yes. Afuera. So he's going to try to appeal this. You can appeal. I don't think it's going to get him anywhere because ultimately, while there may have been one of the decisions is political where Rubio's like, you're jeopardizing our relationship with, you're jeopardizing our relationship with Israel because the tribe does not like it when you say mean things about them and their little round hats. Don't care. Don't care. So, yeah, they went ahead and found out, hey, he lied on his green card. Bye. Bye. Yes, little Marco has been transformed into MAGA Marco. Yes. Am I high? Why am I high? What happened? Am I high? Why? Did I do something? Did something happen or what? Is there something on me? I'm looking at my eyes. Do I look high? Am I acting high? Am I acting like review tech? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? What I do? What I do? Yes, stay a nuisance. The nuisance gets ignored. Make yourself a problem and you get solved. Very true, Cody. Very, very true. I look tired. I'm actually okay right now. Last night I got tired. Yes, he's permabanned. You can't keep your balls open. What? You have a booger. Where? You got a booger. No. Your voice is high. No, it's not. Your eyes were closed for a bit. Oh, I mean, or as I, they seem like they're like this, and I'm just like reading along. I'm like, let's see here. So, get some gamer subs. Code Kirsha, yes. But yes, guys, that is another lefty being told to suffer. And it's great news. He's going to suffer mo and mo and mo. And yes, one of the places he's going might be fucking Syria. And you're like, oh, come to America, you cause fucking problems. Although, to be fair, he solved his visa because he came here for education. He graduated. Visa solved. Bye. Go have fun in Syria. You don't like Israel? Guess what? We'll send you there so you can go tell the Israelis in person how much you don't like them. He's like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to tell them I don't like them from the comfort of an air-conditioned home with Wi-Fi. It's like, sorry. You lied. Bye. This better not be a Mersh moment, yeah. So, at least he gets to have an adventure. Yes. Yes, all you have to do is not be a dick. Just be normal. We don't ask that much. We don't. Christopher, Kirsha doesn't love towers. With that take in mind, chat, you know what to do. Let's start. Well, you got way too much there. That doesn't count. Christopher Dolan says, extraordinary rendition is the coolest Article 2 power. Well, he didn't get rendition. He got detained on an immigration violation, so he didn't do that. Now, the guys who were sent to Salvador, those guys were renditioned, but not otherwise. Will this make him the most educated man in Syria? Yes. That could be very, very possible. Is his wife going to go with him? We don't know. We don't know. She's a U.S. citizen, and so is his baby. So they might not go because, why would you want to go to Syria? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. Don't know the answer to that one. So, We're gonna have to find out together. We'll find out together. Let me see here. See if we missed anything. Brandon the anime guy's been a member for 3 months, says, holy crap, tired. Morons run rampant. Cheers. Well, thank you for your support, man. Thank you for being here 3 months. Another says, can you play the Chris Cantwell recording in lieu of the gay stuff? I don't know what you're getting at, maybe. I don't know which recording that is. Quicks is saying for $1.99, could this going back to the Utah stuff, could the boyfriend have been leverage in surrendering? Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't sound like it had anything to do with it. And, you know, the idea he might be talking to save the boyfriend, I don't know if that's going to go anywhere because when the cops open up Discord, I'm sure they're going to find a lot of shit. Because remember, Discord saves stuff even if you delete it. And then Quick says, what are the chances the police talk the shooter into surrender under the condition the boyfriend walks free? Unless that was written down and guaranteed by the prosecutor, that's not a valid agreement. So I doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. And then PS2 Chipper for 5 subs. Thank you so much for your support. Yes. Yes. So Cantwell recorded himself having gay sex and saying white nationalist stuff is very embarrassing. Well, a lot of those guys are gay. Like even George Lincoln Rockwell was a big old homo. So there you go. There you go, Nick Fuentes. Big old homo. Big old homo. Oh, no. They're all homos. They're all gay, chat. They're all gay. They're gay. Now, going on from there, guys. Going on from there. This is more of an interesting thing here. This is it's not funny till we get to some information. But if you guys remember Publishers Clearinghouse, remember they would show up at the door at the Super Bowl and you'd win $1 million or you'd win the thing that they were famous for. And if you guys are outside the United States or some of you are super like millennials or super Gen Z, Publishers Clearinghouse was a sweepstakes thing where you could enter and you could win $1 million on Super Bowl Sunday. And they showed up live at someone's house with a big old check. Or they had something called the Prize Patrol, which they would go around and give people various checks for money, including like this grand prize of $5,000 per week for the rest of your life. And that's like $260,000 every year. Every year. And Publishers Clearinghouse, you know, you're like, well, are they still around? Well, no, they kind of had a bit. They've had a bit of trouble. And that's kind of what's happening here. But this is a great example of what happens in bankruptcy. So this kind of dovetails into what happened to Alex Jones. So here's what happens. So Publishers Clearinghouse went bankrupt. What does that mean for the forever winners? Well, this is also where you get the financial literacy. So this is an example of what happens with Publishers Clearinghouse. You would win various things from them. And you could win, like, this lady won an African safari. And no, this is not the cool kind of safari. This is go take pictures. She's not winning the one where you can go kill stuff. But still, this is what Publishers Clearinghouse would do. And it was a sweepstakes. Now, they're going bankrupt. And there's some problems here. And we're going to talk about the guy who's, like, that one's a bit of an issue here. But these people show up, they give like different people like, here's a $10,000 check. You're like, wow. Wow. And WG says, will I cover this? Yes, but that's going to be its own thing because that needs to be discussed. But yes, yeah, she was found as Tesla. Yeah, that's so weird. Now, yes, when the print magazines went out of business, so did the clearinghouse. Pretty much. But they've been around since the 50s. And what happened? Well, the company estimates when it went bankrupt, it owes $26 million of future prize money, with $1.9 million of payments due this year alone. And the company that bought him out said, we are committed to restoring and preserving the trust that has defined PCH for decades. And it says, we understand the concerns surrounding unpaid prizes, and we're taking steps to ensure that every future prize winner can participate with confidence. Notice, what are they doing? Future prize winner. Why? Because the people who have already won are creditors, but they're what's called an unsecured creditor, meaning they didn't sign a mortgage or a loan document. Just they have a promise to pay. So what does that mean? They take a back seat to everybody else in line at bankruptcy. So, for example, if Publishers Clearinghouse, they had like a $10 million building, but it was mortgaged. The mortgage holder goes first. All the people that are vendors of Publishers Clearinghouse who have outstanding debt that they're owed and payments they need, they'll go. And then other things that Publishers Clearinghouse may have signed for, those creditors go. By that point, there's probably no money anyway. So these people who have won are going to get pennies on the dollar probably. And what happened for them? Well, Publishers Clearinghouse, their revenue plunged from $854 million in 2017 to just $182 million in 2023. And they have at most $10 million in assets against $100 million in liabilities. And the payouts have been impossible to cover. They're completely impossible. But they say that all future prizes are going to be honored regardless of the financial status. So as long as you win now, you're good. But if you won before, nope, they're not going to honor it. They are not going to honor it. Now, you see some stuff here that's absolutely insane with some of these people that are involved. So there's this guy. He was promised $5,000 a week for life in 2012, but didn't receive a payment this year, forcing him to sell his possessions and hunt for a job after more than a decade of not working. Okay, so let's stop here. Let's stop here. I'm not going to bag on this guy, but I am going to bag on this guy. So we're going to break out the calculadoro. Yeah, I agree. Yes, bruh. Yes, this is a bruh moment. $260,000 times 13 years. Well, actually, he didn't get it this year, but 12 years. So the 12 years from 2012, so 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Actually, it's even longer. 22, 23, 24, 13 years, actually. We'll just call it 12. We'll call it 12 to be conservative. We'll call it that. We'll call it 13 years to be conservative. That's $3.1 million. Obviously, you're gonna have to pay taxes on that. Okay. Still, you earn $3.1 million, and you're gonna lose some taxes. Let's say you lose a whole million. That's $2.1 million. Like, he didn't lose that much, but it's $2.1 million. Are you telling me you can't make fucking $2 million work out there, chat? What kind of shit did this guy buy? It feels like a nightmare. I thought this was going to go on for the rest of my life, so I didn't have to worry about money. So he's living out the proceeds of his most cherished possessions, including a jet ski and a trailer. If your jet ski is one of your most prized possessions, like, whoo, lad. Yeah. Got them pulls, Hogan's. Yep. It's a guy up in Washington. He probably hangs out with DSP. Yeah. Well, financial literacy, chat. Financial literacy is the name of the game. The curse of the lottery. Yep. Sounds like Eastbound and Down. Yes, it does. Holy shit. But it gets even better. He says, why didn't somebody give me a heads up? Hey, we're going out of business. It's not a good way to treat anyone. He says, pretty sure I'm going to lose my home. Why the fuck isn't it paid off? But there's even worse ones. So these two, the Vidic family, they won the $5,000 a week prize in 2001. They're disabled veterans, though, and they're going to be forced to live off their military pensions. You know, you changed our lives, and now you messed it up. We trusted them. And the court filings show at least 10 prize winners are among the 20 largest unsecured creditors. Whoa. I bet there's some, like these guys, 2001 till today, for the year 2025, they didn't get checks. So 2001 to 2024, 2025, that's 24. Let's just do 24 years. 24 years times 260,000. 24 times 260,000. You know how much that is, chat? Do you know how much that is? Let's find out together. $6.25 million. $6.25 million. Holy Jesus Christ. Holy Jesus Christ. That's 130 after taxes. I don't even know if that's accurate. It's still, I think it's a bit more. Yes, they got 23 years of 5,000 a week, but the way it works is with these guys, they cut you a check at the beginning of the first of every year, like the beginning of January, you get your 260K. But yes, they should have called JG Wentworth, maybe. And why are you not saving some of that $5,000 in the pension? Well, yeah, you got to. Well, when you're hood rich, you're hood rich. Yeah. Oh no, now they'll have to live off 100K a year. How horrible. Well, yeah. Yes, and just remember, chat, Vanguard pays 5% on money market. Yep. You're gonna put this in a mutual fund. Like 1 year, like just take that 260 grand 1 year, because you don't need it every year. If they put it in like at the beginning, just put that, put it in a mutual fund. Think about how much money they'd have now. Put their money in IRAs or anything like that. Max out contributions. Yeah, at the low rates of 13 years ago, they should have paid off their homes. Yep. 23 years, then you don't have an estate. Well, that's the problem here. They're paying the stupid tax. And this is because another problem for Publishers Clearinghouse is they got into some trouble with the Federal Trade Commission. So they had to settle more than $18 million because people were harmed by it. And so what happened? Well, they had done some scammy shit, and they misled claims that the FTC punished them for, and they paid $18.5 million in refunds. They targeted lower income and older people. It deceived them into thinking that that consumers could not enter the sweepstakes without purchasing a product, or that their chances of winning would be increased by purchasing products. They sent emails with deceptive subject lines because people thought they were official documents like tax forms. They had deceptive shipping and handling fees. And even though you wanted returns and refunds, you had to return products at your own expense. Yeah. And the FTC is sending out checks to 281,000 consumers. So maybe you got some money here coming up, chat. You might get your check within 90 days. But yeah, just imagine how, that while we're learning about bankruptcy real quick, that was more of a, wow, how stupid are these people? Apparently dumber than you think. I don't understand. I don't understand why they did it. I don't understand this shit. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So, do lottery winners ever invest? I don't know. I probably would. But no, most lottery winners don't. Most lottery winners don't. This sounds like Boogie 2988. Yeah. Yes, it's because they're boomers. Yes, they are boomers. Why do we have a hair on me? It's a Clyde hair, I think. Or is that a white hair? No, that's a white hair. That's me. Oh. Clippy says the mods are timing you out. Who's timing you out? I don't see it. Hold on here. Let me see. Did somebody time you out? Why do they time you out? Mods, don't time him out. Leave him alone. Leave him be. So, there. Took care of the problem for now. So, I see it. I took care of something there. So, don't worry. I'm going to fix that. Yes, they don't because each day they come in playing the pick 4 and asking to replay it for midday, paying $40 a day. Yeah. So those are stupid people, and it's a tax on stupid people. So hold on here, chat. I need to do something here. Where is the thing I'm looking for here? Hold on, chat. Okay. So, sorry I had to take care of that. So, all right, guys, moving on from there to people who were taking L's, people who took L's, and it's something we need to address because people are taking L's, and it's very sad that there are L's being taken, but they need to be addressed. And one of the biggest L's right now is that of Fani WIllis. Fani WIllis, the brave district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia. And the Supreme Court of Georgia denied her ability to be heard by the Georgia Supreme Court. Because remember, Judge McAfee, the trial court judge, said that either Fani WIllis or her boyfriend, Nathan Wade, had to leave the case. And then Fani appealed. And the Court of Appeals in Georgia said, actually, you're disqualified, Fani. Your entire office is disqualified. And everybody's off the case. And now an independent prosecutor has to pick it up. So Fani went ahead and appealed this to the Supreme Court of Georgia. And they said, sorry, not interested. We're not giving you certiorari. So the Fani WIllis case against Donald Trump, it's over. She's lost. Because what happens now is an independent organization comes in to try to decide what they're going to do. And they don't have the kind of money Fulton County has. So, and also most of the prosecutors in Georgia are going to be Republicans. It's getting dismissed. So, yeah. So, Clippy, I took care of the problem. I don't know what the fuck more you want. Okay. Like, I took care of the problem. Whoever was doing it, I fucking took away their shit. I can't do anything more. So, you know, if stopping it's pathetic, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know. But whoever it was, I took the wrench away, fucking timed him out. Like, what more do you want from me? Do you want me to go find him and fucking kill him or something? Because, like, I don't know what you want. Don't know what you want. So, But yes, getting back to Fani. Yeah, it's done. It's done. And the people who pled out earlier, remember, of the people who had this case, there were 19 defendants. A couple of them pled out ahead of time. If you guys remember, there were a bunch of them that pled out, and they were all the attorneys. All the attorneys pled out. And that was the funny part of this, because there are a bunch of them who pled out, and now the case is over. But it doesn't change things for them. They pled guilty to a crime. It's no different than if you are a defendant and you plea out, but your co-defendants get acquitted. So what happened here? Well, all the guys involved. So Kenneth Chesbrough, he pled out. He was one of the attorneys. John Eastman pled out, one of the attorneys. Sidney Powell, the Kraken lady, pled out. And then Jenna Ellis, one of the biggest fucking sellouts ever. They all pled out. That's all still valid. So everybody else here, everyone else in here, Trump, Rudy, Mark Meadows, Harrison Floyd, all these guys, Mike Roman, all these other people, they get a big fat dub, man. They get the dub. In the meantime, what do these guys get? They just have big old fat L's. They get L's right now. They got an L. 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 Just L's. Because you snitched. You pled out. Remember, chat, nobody talks. Everybody walks. Nobody talks. Everybody walks. So. Just, didn't they all lose their license? Yeah, they all got suspended in one form or another. What happened to no snitching? Yeah, I don't know. Are Powell and Ellis still attorneys? Yes, but who's going to trust them? They're fucking snitches. They're dumbasses. Stacy says, I want that on a t-shirt. You can find that at the Teespring. It should be on a t-shirt there. It should be there at the Teespring. At the merch link down below. Yes, those who pled didn't understand the prisoner's dilemma exactly. So that's why you have to be careful about doing it. You have to be careful about pleading out. It's rough. It is a rough thing. It's a very rough thing out there, chat. But it's done. The case is over. Fani's out. Nobody's going to come in and take over. So it's going away. So, hold on here. One more thing, chat. Oh, so Fani should be fired, then in jail. Yeah, but she's not going to be. She's not going to be fired. She's not going to go to jail. It's just the nature of the thing, chat. It's going to be the nature of things there. But will she pay at the ballot box? No. Fani WIllis won. The election results for Fani WIllis, she won fucking resoundingly. She ran. She won. She had 70% of the vote. And we'll get that here. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, she got 70% of the vote. So, yeah. So here's what happened. Here's the race. Here's the race. She fucking trounced Courtney Kramer. So it's never not going to happen. Like, she's there till they get rid of her. Yeah. Yeah. No GOP can win in Fulton County ever. Sounds like it, but Judge McAfee is GOP, but he's probably not going to win again going forward. So, but yes, the saga of the Trump stuff is over. And the funny thing is, this case, there were some things Trump probably could have been convicted on. And it's because he signed documents and it made attestations when he signed these documents that they were true and correct. That was probably one of the more effective cases they had, because that was counts Trump probably couldn't get away with. But Fani WIllis, because of her greed in paying her boyfriend and making money and doing stuff with that money, and her hubris that she was some boss bitch, top tier, attorney, she lost it. She lost her ability to prosecute this case, and Trump now is walking away like he got lucky. She fucked up and he gets to walk. It's all because of her. Imagine that. Imagine that. On a mayor level, DA level, Sean. Yeah. I mean, but she won. And she could just had to stay out of the way and not act like a big old bitch. And last night, chat, we covered it. We reviewed some of the old hearing where she took the stand and got all upset and started acting like got all ghetto fabulous up there. She's the reason why this happened. Hubris. The fates love fucking with you. The fates love fucking with you. And that's what happens. That's what happens, chat. But it's a big thing because now all the cases are done. All the cases are done. But yeah, suffer, Fani. Suffer. And it's just another dub for the Trump administration. A corrupt prosecution got fucking BTFO'd. A corrupt prosecution got BTFO'd. And it's never a bad thing. It's never a bad thing. It's never a bad thing. When that happens, you love to see it. You love to see it. You love to see it. Now, from here, guys, we are talking about, stuff you love to see. And, one of the biggest things you love to see right now is the deplatforming and just the absolute ass kicking that Jimmy Kimmel has faced. He has now been removed by ABC. His show has been canceled. And he suffered a massive blow when Sinclair Media and Nexstar Group, which are basically those two companies as broadcasting companies, control 90-some% of all affiliates for ABC, NBC, CBS, and whatever that are out there. And as a result of Jimmy Kimmel's comments about Charlie Kirk, but also that he doctored the Trump press conference he gave to make it sound like Trump never cared about Charlie Kirk and edited out what Trump said to make it sound like there was nothing there. ABC was like, you can't do this. Jimmy's like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. Well, the broadcast companies were like, we're not going to air the show anymore. So ABC's like, all right, we're done. We're done. And Jimmy Kimmel is no more. Now, I will tell you guys, I was a little concerned at first because the way this happened Brandon Carr from the FCC, the chairman, went on Benny Johnson's show and had said, "Oh, well, I think he, needs to happen." He ran out there, and I get it. The Trump administration wants to dab on people, and of all the people you could dab on, Jimmy fucking Kimmel sounds like a great guy to fucking dab on him. You want to sit there and just fucking dab right on his grave? I get it. You want to do that. You want to dab right on it as a fuck you to Jimmy Kimmel, but not like this. Not like this. This is our kill. The popular sovereignty of the people. They made it clear they didn't like this shit. So it's our kill. It's not your kill. It's not the Trump administration's kill. It's our scalp. Jimmy Kimmel has been removed from the airwaves. And there was an entire thing from the Sinclair Broadcasting Group to their investor relations. And they say getting rid of Jimmy isn't enough. They want the FCC and ABC to take more action. Well, they did. They did. Jimmy Kimmel is done. Now, there are some funny parts about this, and this is where it's kind of like what happened with Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert's show got canceled because his ratings were fucking plummeting. And Jimmy Kimmel was in the toilet, too, before he got suspended. And a lot of people think Jimmy Kimmel did this to get out of his contract. But yeah, he has summer declines and a year-long slide. According to Nielsen, Jimmy Kimmel Live dropped to just 1.1 total million viewers in August. So as of August, and this is Nielsen who does the TV stuff, 1.1 million fucking viewers in August. I mean, that's pretty bad. That's pretty fucking bad. You're worth how much money? They put how much money into you, and this is all you do? This is all you do, man? Like, come on. No. It can't. And I think even for me, and I'm trying to pull up my analytics here, I'm pretty sure, like, what he thinks he did there. It's like, buddy, how can you sit here and say that's impressive for a show? 1.1 million people total over the course of a month. Like, really, how does that work? The views for the past 30 days for me. Let me see here if I can do the last. We'll do August. My total views in August. In August, chat, you know how many views I got total? 76,346 views. I do this just with a computer and I sit around. I got like almost like, a couple percent of what Jimmy Kimmel did. Yeah, and he gets 1.1 mil a night. It's pathetic. He's barely like if you get 100,000 views, you're kind of like catching up to him there. Yes, I had 1488 views. Yes. And I'm almost as good as Kimmel. Yes. But yeah, Greg Gutfeld is burning these people down, burning them down completely. Burning them down completely, guys. And that's a thing here. That, like, it's bad. It's bad here. I mean, it's no good. And I mean, here are more of his numbers. His live monthly ratings. These are his monthly ratings, chat. Not like every night. No, it's not every night 1.1 million people watch. His live monthly ratings. 129,000 in the critical demographic, 18 to 49. Look at this. Look at that. 129,000. Fucking Asmongold does these numbers. Fucking Hassan could drag race him. I mean, like, and quarterly, like, it's all, I mean, like, it's such fucking hot garbage. I mean, he's not, like, he's barely. Nico's saying these are averages per show. Okay, I'm sorry. But 1.2 million, 1.1 million per show, that's not much. That's a disaster in the Nielsen ratings. Their Liver King numbers, yeah. It's just absolutely fucking awful. The coveted 18 to 49 demo is cratered. And his contract was set to expire next year, just like was going to happen with Stephen Colbert. They were going to cancel him. And apparently, Jimmy Kimmel lost his fucking mind when this all happened. But his salary is $15 to $16 million a year. And he probably makes $20 million a year on a show that doesn't fucking work. It's just hilarious. How did that work? How did that fucking work? And yes, Jimmy Kimmel fans protested the suspension. I'm sure these are people who are like that work for Jimmy Kimmel who are going to fucking lose their jobs. I doubt it's just, these random people showed up with a fucking sign and shirts on that are printed out. I'm totally sure this isn't the fucking unions doing this. That's it. That's it right there. Yeah, it's totally legit. It's totally legit. And it's funny because they talk about Stephen Colbert, who's doing better, held a top spot. But then you look at, who has got better? Greg Gutfeld. I like how they call him an upstart. He's not an upstart. Greg Gutfeld's been doing it forever. Greg Gutfeld had red eye. Greg Gutfeld's been doing this for fucking ever. And he dominates. He's dominating. Jimmy Fallon is just sucking ass as well. But Greg Gutfeld, he was the winner in 2024. 2.76 million viewers a night. The Daily Show, powered by Jon Stewart's return, still crashes and burns. But look at these guys. Look at these faggots. So fuck these people. Fuck these people. You think you hate them enough, but you don't. You don't think you hate them enough, but you don't. And yes, from Katie, I did want to tell her, she did send this, and it's hilarious here. This is very funny. There's a bit of suffering for Jimmy Kimmel. And people went out and filmed. And yes, here you go. That on the Jimmy Kimmel set, they're clearing out the studio. They're just getting rid of all this shit. They put him on the chat. He's been evicted. He's evicted. He's a bum. Wow, that guy he's not as fat as I am, but he's trying. You'll get there one day, King. Where's that faggy Mexican security guard guy? Whatever the fuck that guy is. Did he get picked up by ICE? You know what I'm talking about? Like, isn't that Jimmy Kimmel's thing? He's got that fucking weird dude. His fucking security guard guy. Was that guy American? Did he have a green card? Hold on, what's his name? I don't know. Hold on here. Yeah, so hold on here. Is it where is that guy? Oh, and there's some AstroTurf stuff. Here is the Writers Guild of America showing up to protest Jimmy Kimmel. God bless the Writers Guild being there, I guess. So Yeah, because that's what we need. More commies. More commies. That's his mascot. Guillermo. Guillermo. Okay. Yeah, well, there you go. I don't watch, so I don't know. Yeah, yet Ice done it. Yes. Oh, yeah, I'm sure at the end of the day he made all his money and he wins, but listening to him suffer and being made to look like a bitch like this in front of America is perfect. His shows and his writers, and it's still, yeah, his show his writers and it's still unfunny. Guillermo Rodriguez, well, how do you, yeah, I say, you know, you guys know his name there, but I hope that guy gets deported too while we're at it. Like, really make it burn, make it stick. But yes, Jimmy Kimmel, you know, like I said, I was worried it happened, but I'm glad now we're safe. I'm glad now we're safe. But as, you know, kind of tying in with the Jimmy Kimmel thing, there's more and more, you know, the deplatforming and all this stuff. Not going to lie, Chad, I'm very surprised, but it's like, whoo, buddy, the right has picked up the torch and went full fucking retard into burning down the left culturally, and I am here for it. I am loving every minute of it. And it's even to the point now where, you know, Jimmy Kimmel's realizing, hey, wait, most of society liked Charlie Kirk, and they don't like cheering for a fucking guy who got murdered in front of his family. And it's even to the point where the NFL, they are doing tributes still to Charlie Kirk right now. You know, and it's the Bills Mafia, chat. Even the Bills Mafia, which, you know, are just an awful people. I mean, they're not as bad as Pittsburgh, but the Bills Mafia still. Even they were, you know, showed some love to Charlie Kirk. So there you go. Like, it's yeah. Suffer and all there. The Vikings didn't, of course, they're losers. Yeah, well, they got to worry about their Somali people out there. Their Somali fans. Yes, but this is cancel culture. Should be instant retribution. Not for, you know, saying, you know, if somebody dropped the N-word 15 years ago or what they said in a tweet somewhere back in the day. The Bills Mafia includes the governor of New York. Ew, no. Ew, brother, what's that? No. That's very not halal. Very haram. Very haram. So yeah, don't do that. Now, also kind of going in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk stuff, this is kind of interesting here that there's a bunch of you know, obviously there's going to be a bunch of threats and stuff people put out there, but this one's interesting. They talk about one here that happened, but yeah, around 50 college campuses, you know, got recent calls about hoaxes and whatnot happening there. Some places people held out under their desk, only finding out it was fake. On Thursday, a bunch of HBCUs locked down. And you know, it's an entitlement to the Charlie Kirk shit has happened. So it's like people are not wanting to mess around. But remember, tour swats was the thing, and they swatted everybody. So the dispatch centers for 911 are often like the people who have to filter all this shit out. And you know, that's the thing. Like, you can't blow it off because they're, you know, just because there's a bunch of hoaxes. You have to do it because all kinds of mass shootings and stuff happen nowadays. And they're talking about swatting here. We're not really going to get into all of that. And they're talking about how it's so prominent. They say some SWATs are linked to the group Purgatory. Notice they're not going to talk about tour SWATs here, but they talk about it's a part of a group affiliated with the COM, which is a loose network of online threat actors. I like how they give them all these names. You're like, just call them what they are, fucking weirdos. And they've been, yes, the Global Project Against Hate and Extremism. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? That's so cringe. That's so cringe. And then the Internet Security and Institute for Strategic Dialogue. They've been tracking all this stuff. So what did they show that there were 2-hour live streams captured, and the caller's friends could be heard in the background laughing as the guy calls in stuff. And I love how he says, like, we want there to be a reason for why they're doing it. And they says, and they were doing it for the lols. It's for the lulz. You got to do it for the lulz, chat. You got to do it for the lulz. Yeah, that yeah. So what happened from here? Well, they talk about what happened. They say there were clues that at Kansas State University something was wrong. And the first red flag is that it wasn't a 911 call. So they end up geolocating the emergency calls, and because of that, they call the non-emergency numbers, and they're saying that should be a dead giveaway. You're not going to look it up if you're in an emergency, and that's true. But they said what happened here. Well, the guy was saying it was in Manhattan, Kansas. He got the name wrong, calling it Kansas City State University, which is probably some non-American guy doing it that way. So, and they said there was laughing in the background as like they were calling from Telegram. It was being live streamed. And they said that the guy with an AR-15 was there, and the gunfire that was also recorded gunfire was being put on the TV, which is kind of hilarious. And when the 911 dispatcher's like, you know, why couldn't they see the gunman if the shots are so close? He's like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they have a phone or not. Why are there no other 911 calls? I don't know. Yes, it's like, SAR, there's a gunman, SAR. So they end up sending cops everywhere, but I thought it was just very interesting that these clearly hoaxes were happening. And, you know, it's probably kids from all over the place. You're going to swap my P.O. box? Yeah. That would be funny. That would be funny. Let me see here. Did I miss something? Yeah, no. Do not return fire, SAR. So, Air Dude says, last thing before I got married was in Manhattan, Kansas. Jeez. So, Ag is all upset. If only it was about someone calling about how they can improve their offense. No, I just do think it's interesting. We are having these, like, we got done with tour swats, and tour swats got crushed. But now there's, people filling the gap. In addition to the swattings, there was a big bust of some internet hacking. Really massive. This was actually kind of impressive what happened here. So if you guys have heard of Scattered Spider, some of you probably do know. The US and the UK caught these two guys in Britain, and they were responsible for over 120 ransomware breaches. So they've been doing this for a long time. So the DOJ has gone after these guys, and they did multiple cyber hacks, including critical infrastructure stuff. So what do these guys do? Well, in the U.S., there are at least 120 intrusions against 47 U.S. companies and organizations, and they paid out at least $115 million in ransom. You're like, where do these guys go? If they're like, in the thing here, it points out, this article, it says that the one guy's a 19-year-old, Tala Jubair, and the other guy's an 18-year-old. Where did the $115 million go? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know happened. Like, where did that money go? Yeah, and these are just the people that the complaint is involved in. There have been multiple hospitals and organizations that have paid money to deal with the ransomware that's locked up their systems. Like, the amount of money that's out there is insane right now. But yeah, they did like 120 attacks worldwide and over $115 million into its victims they took. How? Where did that money go? Where did the money go? Where did the money go, Larry? And yeah. eventually you're gonna get found out. And yeah, just think about the $115 million. And they went by names as Earth to Star, Brad, or Austin. And at Autistic, which that's kind of creative. That's kind of creative. Yeah, think about all the Hogans you could pull with that. So they did so fucking much. And they say, and here's the thing that really probably fucked him. In October and January, he participated to gain unauthorized access to the U.S. court system and the federal court system. It's like, that's going to get the feds' attention, really come after you. Oh, man. Oh, man. So they said portions of the ransom payments were sent to wallets on servers controlled by this guy. And what they do is they demand payment in Bitcoin or other crypto. But in July, they seized a server that had $36 million on it in crypto. And he transferred a portion of that crypto to another wallet. And that's kind of probably how they ran him down. But yeah, this guy got charged with computer fraud, conspiracy, computer fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy, and 2 counts of wire fraud and money laundering. And if convicted, he faces up to 95 years in prison. Remember, he's 18 or 19, so they're not going to put him away for that, but I can see him getting 25, 30 years. Like, whoa. Whoa, man. Oh, man. Yeah. He forgot to use the tornado. Yeah. It's a lot of KNUs. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And speaking of people, because he's in the UK, he got extradited. He'll be extradited. And speaking of people extradited, we're going to get to a case of that. But real quick, EDW Raptor for 10 subs. Thank you, EDW. I appreciate your support and your generosity tonight. And yeah, we gotta get an woo in there. Yes. It's never too late for an woo. It's never too late for an woo. Kathy, your realtor living in New Jersey, says he's BFFs with Howard Stern. Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, I didn't realize they were, but Fire PA 498 says maybe Jimmy Kimmel can join the wannabe comedians in the Dabbleverse and beg to hit the goal. Jesus. And he can sit there. Jimmy Kimmel, Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo. That'd be funny. That'd be funny. Kathy says, put your fries in the bag and go. Yes. To Jimmy Kimmel. Yes. Put your fries in the bag and go, sir. Thank you, Kathy. And guys, remember, if you guys are in New Jersey and you need to buy, sell, lease, do whatever, Kathy is your realtor to go to. Get a hold of Kathy. She'll take care of you. The EDW Raptor again for 10 more subs. Remember, chat, when you do the subs, this is what you're doing to the Grays out there. You are crushing them. Making them pay. Making them fucking pay out there, chat. Making them pay. Making them pay. It's what they deserve. It's what they deserve. It's what they deserve. Here, hold on. Shit, we gotta... colleges. All right, chat. I think we're actually almost done here. We're getting done pretty close. We're getting done pretty close on things. We got 2 more stories. We're going to get this wrapped up. The internet was a mistake. Yes. You thought the Grays were the ones that didn't pay. Well, that's what happens. They get crushed. Yes, and remember, Tor was a glowy op from day one. It was created by the U.S. Naval Research Lab. Yes. It was made so that ONI, Office of Naval Intelligence, personnel could communicate through the internet and avoid detection. Yeah, so be careful using Tor. It glows. It glows. So Okay. Have I moved to another office? No, I have not. Yes, we're going to be on locals tonight. We are doing locals. Oh wow, yeah. There's I that spider looks familiar. That looks familiar, totally. All right. Um, moving on to somebody else who got extradited. This one's gonna be. It's really gonna come down to what, and we're gonna go through what this guy did. But this is a guy who's been charged with making threats against Zoran Mamdani. Yes, the communist darling who's running for the mayor of New York City. Well, this guy here, got arrested in Texas and extradited to New York for making a ton of threats. If you guys, well, here, there's Mamdani. This is the guy who's running for mayor of New York City. Yes, the lavish limousine socialist, the champagne socialist. There he is. But this guy's facing a 22-count indictment for making a bunch of threats. And he got indicted, and let's see what he did here, because, threatening violence against people is not allowed. It's illegal. But did he threaten people? And is it really... Remember, New York has hate crime enhancements. So what exactly did this guy do? So, you have here the Supreme Court of the state of New York, County of Queens. So this is in the borough of Queens. So the people of the state of New York against Jeremy Fistel. So he's being accused of making terroristic threats as hate crimes, making threats, aggravated harassment. He's got a bunch of stuff here. So what did he do here? So he got charged with a couple different things. He got charged with a bunch of these crimes here. And these are going to say that he did all this. So he's got all these charges here of what he faced. But what exactly did he say? Because this doesn't tell us. There's no to-wit specifically here. Well, we can go back to this. And what did he do? Well, some of it's pretty fucking cringe. So he pled not guilty to all these charges. And he was extradited to New York City from Texas. And he got his bail. He got a bond, $30,000. He was able to post it and leave. So what did this guy do? So it's interesting. This guy was convicted in federal court of a conspiracy to distribute marijuana. And one of his co-defendant, who got a 10-year sentence for running a marijuana smuggling ring, was commuted by Trump in 2021. Remember, that was part of the stuff Kim Kardashian helped do about getting people back out there and giving them a chance. All those different things out there, people that were entitled, should have got pardons, and a lot of them did. So what did this guy do? Well, anyway, they read aloud the profane voicemail messages and emails that he's alleged to have left. He didn't say anything, but he nodded emphatically when his lawyer said he didn't mean any harm. So he's like, yeah, I'm actually a good guy. It's like, all right, bro. And he says, I've never been in a fight with anybody. He says, I'm not the guy, man. I'm just a regular guy. I know I didn't sound like a nice guy on the phone. Once again, do not talk to the cops. Do not talk to the cops. Yeah, that's the funny thing, Eric. They have bond in New York City. Yes, apparently for this, because you're white. Yes, the Fistel is a nice companion piece to the Baldo. It's like the firefighters when they could take their axe and their hooligan tool, or Halligan tool, and they could marry them together. Take the Fistel and the Baldo and put them together. So here's what he told the police, like a dumb fuck. Why would you say this? He has no interest in going to New York City, but if the voters go socialist, it's not going to be good. Why would you? It's one thing you already said this on the phone, but why would you tell the cops that? Why? 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 Oh God, why? But anyways, this happened today, his arraignment. He left the courthouse with his brother. So they said this all started in June. And somebody called and said he should go back to Uganda before someone shot him in the head. The caller also said Muslims don't belong here. So another voicemail said he was a terrorist who was not welcome in New York or America. And it says, go on, start your car, see what happens. And then used a bunch of expletives as he told them, watch your back every second till you get out of America. That's definitely a threat. That's definitely 100% a threat. Fucking retard. He said, I'd love to see an IDF bullet go through your skull. Normally we get upset if the Jews get involved. This guy's like, I want the Jews to be involved. Yes! I want more Jews involved. I want the whole IDF involved. You're like, bruh. Yeah. Hila, no! Yes, the guy could have asked Hila Klein to do it. Jesus Christ. No, I just think it's so funny. Normally people are all upset that the Jews are involved. But he's like, I'm okay if they're involved. I'm okay if they're involved. So. I'm okay if they're involved. You're like, why? Why do they have to be involved? Why does the Jews have to be involved? Joe's like, all right, what do you need? But anyways, he got all these charges here. He faces up to 15 years of prison if he's convicted. And they talk about, once again, he is marijuana charges, which were in the Eastern District of New York. And they dragged on for a while. They said that he describes himself as someone who grew up in a relatively sheltered environment. He tells the judge he's in a healthy relationship with a woman, takes care of his younger brother, and was excelling at his job at John Hancock, where he was an analyst. He analyzed. So anyways, this guy was arrested by the police and jailed on September 12th. And he was held for 5 days before New York City came and picked him up for extradition. That's impressive, chat. Like a 5-day turnaround time. But like, remember, you made yourself a target. They are going to come get you. They are not going to forget about you. But it's absolutely fucking stupid what he did here. Just absolutely fucking retarded. You know, just talk some shit. And now you ruined your life. And now you're facing felony, like you're going to prison in New York. I'm sure that's going to go well. So like, what are you in here for? Oh, you're in here for murder? Oh, I just left some really mean voicemails. Like, you know, if this is you, man, like that's, are you built for prison? Are you built for prison? I don't think so. So. You know, it's interesting there because when you first read it and you read the stuff on Twitter, you're like, this guy didn't commit a crime. But you read that whole like, don't start your car. You're like, okay, yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. You know, that's free legal advice, chat. I tell you guys not to do stuff. But that one's definitely one not to do. Nero is saying, how is it terroristic if it's not targeting one person? I think that's a little bit of a different thing. They're making the threats. So I don't know for sure, though, but that's a very good point. I don't know. I'm not a New York attorney. So moving on from there, chat, if you guys remember, this is the last thing we talked about tonight. Remember when we went over this recently, Trump passing the executive order on flag burning and said, obviously we can't do anything about flag burning, but we can prosecute you for lighting fires without permits and doing unregistered burns and all different other kind of laws that you're not allowed to do regarding fire on public property or federal property or National Guard or National Park property. Well, that finally happened. Somebody went out and called out Trump and shit tested that. And this is the actions of where's the guy here? This is the actions of a guy named Jay Carey from North Carolina. So he came out to light the flag on fire. He's like, so I'm gonna fucking do it. And it's very interesting. He goes ahead and does it, and he goes ahead and lights this, and you can see what happens here.
Room from overnight shows an American flag that was burned in front of the White House. Now, this came just hours after President Trump signed.
And notice he's in Lafayette Park. He is across the street from the White House.
An executive order enacting stricter penalties for flag burning. Secret Service officers can be seen dousing that flag with a fire extinguisher. Jay Carey, who identified himself as a 20-year combat veteran, says he did it to protest President Trump.
Oh, shit.
If you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail.
Sorry, chat. Sorry. Here you go.
Time right now, new video coming into the newsroom from overnight shows an American flag that was burned in front of the White House. Now, this came just hours after President Trump signed an executive order enacting stricter penalties for flag burning. Secret Service officers can be seen dousing that flag with a fire extinguisher. Jay Carey, who identified himself as a 20-year combat veteran, says he did it to protest President Trump.
If you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail.
And see, this is the problem. Trump says it's dumb shit. It's like Pam Bondi. They say dumb shit, and then the people have to come in and enforce the real policy behind it.
No early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, you get, and what it does is incite to riot. I hope they use that language, by the way. Did they? Yeah, incite to riot. And you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail.
It's important to note that flag burning is protected by free speech. It's a form of protected.
Yes. Text First Johnson, you can burn a flag, and it is perfectly legal to burn the flag as a form of speech. Now, what they did for this guy, he got charged with a couple of crimes, including in their misdemeanors of lighting a fire in an undesignated area and lighting a fire in a manner that causes damage to property or park resources. Now, here's the thing. Did he damage park resources? Because looking at it, when you look at what he did, is that really a damage to park resources there? I would say no. He's lighting the bricks on fire. Is he going to hurt it? No. So I could see lighting a fire in an undesignated area or lighting a fire without like the authority to do so or permission to do so. But he can't do that. Bob Tube for $2 Australian says, light anything else in public, but not a flag. No, you're not allowed to light a fire without like a permit and not in a designated area. So, yeah, like that makes sense. That's a valid charge. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. You have to have a permit to do it. As a pride flag, you get a hate crime. Well, yeah, but people have to clean it. Oh, yeah, that's not what they meant. They have to clean the bricks off. That's not what was meant for all of that. That's not what the statute was meant for. So ultimately, yes, did this guy commit a crime? I mean, yeah, I think it's fair to argue he did, but should he be being prosecuted for it? No, he shouldn't be. This is one of those times where he hasn't caused damage to property. He hasn't caused damage to people. He shouldn't be getting charged. That's entirely unnecessary, in my opinion. Entirely unnecessary. Because he faces up to 6 months on each offense. He could get a year in jail in total. So this is a problem here. This is, this guy, I think he thought he was going to be cool and all, but, there's a prohibition on burning in this area. That's a time, place, and manner restriction. Applies to everybody. Applies to everyone. So I think this guy, like, he's protesting it. It's like, no, you're actually causing a problem there. Now, if you had turned around and did it in front of your own house, like, which I thought the day Trump did this, I was like, well, shit, maybe I have to order a flag to go light on fire just to tell Trump to fuck off. And it's like, that'd be an interesting thing to do. That'd be an interesting thing to do. So, to be fair, this guy sounds like a loser and nothing else going on. I mean, yeah. And he is fighting it. He's got a couple of different attorneys from, he's got a public defender, and then he's got an attorney from two separate, looks like left libertarian think tanks that are helping him. And, yeah, I think he's going to have a hell of a case against most of the charges. I still have ultimately, I still think they have a case against him. I still think they do. Yes, I didn't know my civil disobedience would lead me to being charged for my disobedience. What about the retirement of flags? Traditionally, they're burned. Also, Mariko brought up as well. Isn't legal way to only dispose of a flag via burning? Yes, but it's a decommissioning ceremony for a flag. It's a flag disposal thing. The ceremony for disposing of flags. Like, it's an actual thing, but it's done with a little bit of dignity as it happens. Like there's it's not that, this is, it's not the same. It's not the same. And if you're doing it in a situation where you're following certain rules and guidelines, like I've watched the American Legion before do it, and they say, are these, they kind of do it with a little bit of formality, like, have these flags been inspected? Do we all deem them to be not serviceable anymore? And yeah, then you can burn them, but you burn them in a nice, orderly manner. If you put them like in a fire pit, they could be burned and consumed. Like, there are some rules and guidelines, but as long as you're clearly just like, these are decommissioned, destroyed flags, we need to get rid of them. So yes, it gets disposed of with reverence. It's a very interesting thing. I remember seeing in high school. It is weird. It is weird to see. So, but yes, remember what the Trump administration said. We will get you on everything but flag burning. So, and
on New at 4, we are hearing from the Army veteran briefly arrested for setting an American flag on fire outside of the White House Monday. Well, that protest.
Okay, chat. So, that one wasn't a big one, but I thought it was important because I know people were starting to freak out about how this works one way or another. And I think that if this guy could get it all dismissed, I think that's definitely possible. But I could see the court saying, no, I'm not going to get rid of your case. I'm not going to dismiss it against you, and you're just going to have to deal with it. So that's kind of what's there. Kind of what's there. Of course it was a vet. Yeah, well. Let's see. They reach the flag as last racehorse. Okay, kind of, but yes. There's a whole thing. The flags are generally neatly folded and they're disposed of. It's actually it's a very interesting experience. I recommend you get the chance to do it at some point in your life. I recommend it because, yeah, it's not bad at all. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So, in chat, look at that. 2 hours, 29 minutes, and 13 seconds. And we are done! It's midnight, chat. So there we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. Play that Ragged Old Flag by Johnny Cash. Yes. Yes. That's a very, very good song. That's a very good song. Well, chat, that said, we are all done tonight. We are all caught up on everything. We are going to, after this, go to Locals. I'll see you guys over there at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Use the promo code summertime 2025. Come hang out with us. But from here, we are, what are we going to do tomorrow? I think we're going to do some Russell Greer stuff maybe, or catch up on something. We're going to catch up on something, I think. Make it a little more fun. And then Saturday, I think we'll make it a members only because so many people donated memberships for it. You guys wanted me to play a game, so I guess I'm going to learn to play Factorio because you guys had to be... You and Ryan Mullally, you guys all had to be assholes, so I guess you donate 100 subs. I'm playing Factorio now. So we're going to try to play Factorio. I'm going to try to figure out how to run OBS to do this because it doesn't work on StreamYard. So anyways, you're going to get what you get, guys. Ultimately, nothing's really happened on the Greer case, but I'm not sure what we're going to look at there. Well, we might look at a couple different things and push them all together. We may watch the Michigan electors shit tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure what we're doing. So you'll be fine. Factorio has trains. Anderson Cooper says he's doing it members only. I guess I don't get to see it. I mean, I'll try and do it for everybody. It'll be put members only quickly so it doesn't ruin the algorithm. But yeah, I'll do it open for everybody. We'll take a look at it. Yeah, I know. That's why people are doing it. That's why people are doing it, because it's like Destiny's favorite game. Don't worry, we'll only do it a couple of times. After that, we'll move on to like playing cool games. So maybe we'll play some Gunner Heat PC tomorrow night on Saturday to like make it less gay. So I'll try it. Hella did a whole furry investigation on the Kirk case. There's loads of content. Oh, I guarantee you there is. Fucking furries are just ugh. So, all right, chat. With that said, we are going to do that, and we're going to wrap this up here, and we are going to move over to locals, and we're going to hang out. We'll probably try to work on putting together the JA9 and kind of go from there. We'll work on putting my one gun back together. So with that said, chat, we are going to wrap this up, and thank you all for being here. There's still over 400 of you here. I truly appreciate that, guys. Like I said, tonight was a little bit of a different thing. Here. So with that said, chat, remember, until next time, sorry, I thought somebody texted me something there. I was making sure I read that right. But remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Trump and the Georgia team, not guilty. Suffer, Fanny. Suffer. So, chat, good night, and I will see you guys over on Locals. Thank you for an amazing night tonight, guys. I truly appreciate it. Felt great. I mean, like 2.5 hours went by just like so. Fun night, chat. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the